Hi folks, welcome to Australian Outback Proving Grounds video on lawn seed. This footage is from about a month ago. The drought had claimed our lawn and just left thistles and prickles and weeds to dominate. The most enduring drought in Australian history had claimed our front lawn. There was no turf, soft, cool grass left for the grandkids to play on, and weeds and prickles began to dominate. People were walking in dirt and prickles. The only best course of action was to herbicide everything on the front lawn and start again. So that's what I did. The only bit of greenery in the front yard isn't turf, isn't lawn, it's prickles and weeds. And here in the Outback, sowing seed is actually a big deal. Our town water comes from a bore. It's not from a freshwater source such as rivers, creeks or dams. It has to be brought out from underground, drilled for, and then purified minimally before it becomes a part of the town's water supply. Just using water for domestic purposes, showering, washing, cooking, etc., our 3-monthly water bill is about $280. Basically, it's a pay-as-you-use system, and drinking water comes from a rainwater tank. To put that into context, my family home in New South Wales has an award-winning yard and garden, and their average water bill is only about $280 for 6 months. Like the rest of Australia, they are in drought, but they have fresh water supply sources. Sowing lawn seed is such a big deal out here because for the first 14 days, the seed has to be kept constantly wet. Not drowning, but damp. Constantly damp soil, constantly damp seed. For me, this meant waiting for autumn when the rains were more abundant and the heat was less. 10 minutes watering in the morning, 10 minutes watering in the afternoon, and the rain, well, that's even less watering on top of that. Doing it on almost the tightest of budgets meant buying some sacks of this to prepare the soil. This stuff ain't dear. It costs a little over $11 a sack, but it doesn't go as far as you think it will. I had two main reasons for using this lawn mix. First was as its underlay properties to level out the soil and even build up the soil profile a bit. Secondly, it had slow release fertilisers to give the lawn seed the best fighting chance I could. Fast release fertilisers, e.g. urea, they will burn the seed off. After that, you need seed. I wanted to do a comparison of two seed types, a budget and an expensive type. This is what I wanted. This was the better type in my mind. You pay for quality, and this is my pick for quality. $13 for less than half a kilo. This isn't what I ended up with, however, because I sent someone else into the nearby city of Port Augusta to get it, and this is what they came back with. An easy mistake to make. One is Smart Grass and the other is Lawn Smart. This is still an excellent product, but I don't believe it's the most suitable for me because I do not live in a cooler climate. I live in a hot, dry climate. Still, this probably will work well because it does have high drought tolerance. Also contending for the Australian Outback Proving Grounds title for Best Arid Lands Lawn Seed is this one. Budget Lawn Grass Seed Mix. So the two contenders are the Yates All Season Smart Grass versus the Budget Lawn Grass Seed Mix. So back to this bag of lawn mix which I was using for the underlay properties to condition the soil a little bit, help the new seed and help with water retention. This is 7 days growth with the smart seed and 2 sacks of that soil underlay. That's it. 2 sacks, barely top dressed, half that patch. The opposite side of the path sees 3 bags of that soil mix used as an underlay and the budget grass seed mix. It looks like it's growing better here, but have a zoomed in closer look and you'll see that the rear third of the bed that hasn't been covered with the soil mix is actually mainly clover. Clover had been present in my yard before I sprayed the herbicide. That knocked it back a lot. In the month since I've sprayed herbicide, I guess it had started to return. And with the recent rains we've had, and plus the watering and the nutrients of the soil mix, it's come through like a bull at a gate. There is new growth coming through from the seed, certainly, but it's nowhere near as advanced as a smart seed. With the time shift, now it's day 16 for the smart seed, day 15 for the budget seed. We've had a few days of good rain and the rain is returning. This is what it looks like now in the yard. I'll have to zoom it in for you to see, but even in the bare patches, new shoots are starting to come through. With regard to my point about the clover, have a look at this side that has the smart seed in it. There's very little clover to be seen as compared to the side with the budget grass. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no objection to clover in my particular area of the world because it's still a soft ground covering that is good for the kids to play on and results in less heat coming into the house. For the majority of the year, this part of the world has an abundance of strong, intense sunlight. With that comes strong, intense heat. Grasses and clovers are absorbent and non-radiative, but plain dirt is both radiative and reflective of heat into the house. Having a good lawn is as much about economic rationalisation as it is about improving the aesthetic qualities of the house. A good lawn means you spend less in cooling costs. And the thing about clover is that it's still a green, luscious, soft ground cover, and it's fairly moist for the grandkids to play on. That's our individual circumstances though. We only rent the home. In your circumstances, having a clover content in your lawn may not be a desirable outcome. And I understand that. I appreciate that. To bring us full circle to the point that started this out, clover, there is a lot less clover in this side with the smart seed planted in it than on the other side which has the budget seed planted in it. Now, I know for a fact that there was no clover in either of the seed mixes, but this must have some kind of competition preventative to stop clover and other weeds coming up competing with the lawn seed for nutrients. The lawn beds have received pretty much the exact same treatment. It's the same herbicide, it's the same soil underlay. The only difference is the seed that's been sown or the seed blend that's been sown. And so we go from a lawn seed bed that's got barely any clover in it to a lawn seed bed that's full of clover. Best practice is not to mow for a month after the seedlings start to shoot, and I will honour that practice. From both boxes though, there are still seedlings sprouting up, and quite honestly, only time will tell which is actually the better seed for our arid areas in the long run, because this budget box is designed for arid lands, whereas the smart box that's got the fantastic growth at the moment is actually best suited to cooler climates. The time of the year is also a factor. Autumn ends in 8 days, winter begins in 9 days, and to be absolutely frank, 10 minutes water in the morning and 10 minutes water in the afternoon hasn't been the ideal propagating condition. Australia basically has a pay-as-you-use system for water, and the local councils determine the cost of water in their electorate or their area. Americans call them faucets, we call them taps. Either way, it's the same thing. A water outlet here in town sends out water at greater than 18 litres of water per minute, so do the math. Watering one seed bed for 10 minutes is 180 litres of water. Times by 2 for doing it twice a day, morning and night, that's 360 litres of water. Times by 2 again for 2 seed beds, that's 720 litres of water a day. Times by 14 to maintain it for the first fortnight, and that's an awful lot of water. That's why I've done this in the cool season, when evaporation is less and the winter or cool season rains are more abundant. I still need to oversow the backyard, but I don't need to plant again from seed, so that'll save some water. This video is pretty much done and dusted now, folks, but if you are in a part of the world that has an abundance of water, spare a thought for how you use it. You use more than you realise. For the backyard oversowing, I'll use that smart seed that I wanted to use in the first place. Have a good day all, and be good to your neighbours. It's not a video. Today we're it's one of those things, but eventually I'll get it.